The first Grand Theft Auto was published in 1997. It's made up of 6 levels split between 3 main cities. Each locale is based on a real-life city in the United States. The game has only one camera mode, which is looking from top to bottom. In each level, the player's ultimate objective is to reach a target number of points, which starts at $1 million but becomes higher in the later levels, and then reach the level's goal to complete the stage.
And remember, respect is everything.
Like its predecessor Grand Theft Auto, the game focuses on players completing a series of levels, each requiring a set target score being achieved in order to progress to the next stage. Points are awarded from various criminal actions such as destroying cars, selling vehicles, and completing missions for various crime syndicates, with the latter awarding more points than doing simple criminal actions. Unlike its predecessor, Grand Theft Auto 2 is set in an unspecified time period. It was released in 1999, just 2 years after the first game of the franchise. Grand Theft Auto 3 is an action-adventure game played from a third-person perspective. It was the first on the franchise to adopt this point of view. Players complete missions, linear scenarios with set objectives, to progress through the story. It is possible to have several missions available at a time, as some missions require players to wait for further instructions or events. Available in 2001, GTA 3 introduced the option to free roam the game's 8.12 square kilometers open world outside of missions, and have the ability to complete optional side quests.
Tomas, I appreciate your coming. Forgive me for getting straight to business.
The great hit GTA Vice City was published in 2002. The player may run, jump, or drive vehicles to navigate the game's 9.11 square kilometer world.
Hogging all the action I see.
During the story, Tommy meets characters from various gangs. As the player completes missions for different gangs, fellow gang members will often defend the player, while rival gang members will recognize the player and subsequently shoot on sight. While free roaming the game world, the player may engage in activities such as a vigilante mini-game, a firefighting activity, a paramedic service and a taxi cab service. Completion of these activities grants the player with context-specific rewards.
On the East Coast, it was time to go home.
Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, released in 2004, is an action-adventure game with role-playing and stealth elements. Structured similarly to the previous 2 games in the series, the core gameplay consists of elements of third-person shooter and driving games, affording the player a large 38 square kilometers environment in which to move around. On foot, the player's character is capable of walking, running, sprinting, swimming, climbing, and jumping, as well as using weapons and various forms of hand-to-hand combat. The player can operate a variety of vehicles, including cars, buses, boats, airplanes, helicopters, trains, tanks, motorcycles, and bicycles.
Nah, I'm down, homie.
Development of Grand Theft Auto 4 began soon after the release of San Andreas. In 2008, the game introduced a shift to a more realistic and detailed style and tone for the series. Unlike previous entries, Grand Theft Auto 4 lacked a strong cinematic influence, as the team attempted an original approach to the story. As part of their research for the open world, the development team conducted extensive field research in New York, capturing over 100,000 photographs and several hours of video. The developers considered the 16.14 square kilometer world to be the most important elements of the game. Though not the largest map in the series, they considered it comparable in scope due to its verticality and level of detail. The single-player mode lets players control 3 characters: Michael DeSanta, Trevor Phillips and Franklin Clinton, criminals whose stories interconnect as they complete missions. Some missions are completed with only 1 character and others feature 2 or 3. Outside the missions, players may switch between characters at will by a directional compass on the HUD. The game was published in 2013, although it made its way through 2 console generations, mostly due to its ever-evolving online mode. Currently, GTA 5 is set to get a remake for its 3rd console generation sometime the second half of 2021. It offered the biggest map to date, set around 75.84 square kilometers.